Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Today's Diary podcast. I'm one of your hosts for today, and my name is Brandon. Right here in the studio with me, you've got Zizu
Hello.
and you've got Ayo at the back of the camera. It's amazing that we are here once more, guys, and we are really happy that we are sharing the stage with you guys. We don't know how you're feeling, but we are transmitting good tidings and good spirit over to you guys. Zina, what's the feeling on your side?
You said we are transmitting. I was wondering, like, you haven't asked me, how do you know?
No, I
I'm
am
trying.
identify as we, chocolate, biscuits, small goosey
I'm
soup.
good. I'm good. I'm good.
So I'm speaking from a we.
Okay. I'm good. I'm doing good.
Okay, that's fantastic. It's good to know that you're in good spirit. Without wasting much time, we will dive straight to our Did You Know?
Make a start. I've been making a start
I
the
know.
past
I
couple
was
of
ready for it.
times. Okay.
Did you know that an ostrich eye is bigger than its heart? At this, I did not come.
Well,
I did not come in 1970 today.
at least.
Times have changed.
Okay.
Ostrich eye, it's bigger than its heart.
Is it that is, but the eyes are not that big. So is it that he's got very small heart?
Yes, chicken heart.
Interesting.
You know if that's where the phrase chicken heart came from, but it's not a chicken though.
I don't think that's where it came from. Anyways, did you know that the shortest war ever fought on planet Earth lasted 38 minutes?
I've read something like that, but
History man, you don't know. Good.
I've read something like that but years ago.
Yeah, it lasted 38 minutes between the British Empire and Zanzibar. Guess who won?
Zanzibar.
I knew if I ask guess who won, you say Zanzibar because it's unlike for me to ask, right?
No, it's
England won.
really
Yeah, the British Empire won 38 minutes.
that's preposterous.
Anyways, that's it.
Yeah, so well, you've got to do the did you know from us. Without wasting much time, we'll just go to the cake of the day. Let's dig in, guys. You know, it's last time on the podcast we discussed about people that go travel out to leave their homes and travel to different countries to try and start a new life, get a better life. And these people that go to different countries start families, and these families will start with children who will have cousins. You travel with your brother, you have your own children, they have their own children. You're responsible for them. The upbringing we had while we travel to different countries is different from the upbringing that our children we do have that will be born in foreign lands or in our new home that we've moved to. Sometimes things do not exactly go as planned. And on one of these occasions, there's a child here in the UK or a case currently going on in the UK that a child is suing the parents for taking him back to Africa. You can imagine what would make you as a parent take your child back to Africa. Because as a matter of fact, the way we are brought up, we always want to give our children the best. We know that if you come from a place where of struggle, you don't want your children to struggle. You don't want them to go through the same things you've seen. So for you to be able to say, "Oh, I'm taking you back home," it must have taken a lot from you to say, "Oh, I want to give you I want you to go and get some good manners or some training, or you think this is the only place that can bring them up based on how you were being brought up as well." So, but on one of these occasions, it's backfired, and now the parents are in court, and it's a 13-year-old boy child. I don't know how this can be viewed, but it's a rough patch.
I wanted you to give the full context before I step in. One is, I believe there are a lot of factors to consider. It's not just about, obviously, let's put two countries here just to get a bit more context, right? Let's say you're coming from Africa, Cameroon, Nigeria, any other African country, and you're migrating abroad. You want you've moved abroad or to Europe for a better life. So definitely you believe there are more opportunities in terms of education, health, and just life in general after your children go to school in terms of their careers and everything. In short, there are a lot more opportunities. Like you said, Brandon, what will make a parent decide to take their children and send them back to Africa? It must have been a lot. And I believe there are so many things that can cause that. Some would be things that concerns the parents, not the children. And some would be things that concerns the children.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's the thing is there must have been a push and pull factor. On this particular occasion, the parents are complaining that based on the case we saw and we've read.
Can we just read it so
Yeah, you
people
can,
can
so
understand?
for
Yeah.
context sake, and you can shed more context into it.
Okay. So a 13-year-old boy has begun legal action against his family over claims his parents brutally took him abroad and enrolled him in a boarding school before abandoning him there. The boy, who cannot be identified, contacted the British consulate and a child welfare organization after his parents registered him at a school in Africa before returning to the UK. Barrister for the boy claims his parents physically and emotionally abandoned their son because they were concerned he was getting involved in gangs in London, something the teenager denies in the strongest terms. At a hearing which began on Tuesday, the boy's lawyer asked a judge to order that he be brought back to the UK, where he has lived since birth. But lawyers for the boy's father said he should be allowed to stay abroad and that the decision to relocate him was a proper exercise of parental responsibilities. Yeah. Now you understand where we are coming from. And in this story, there is just one factor that's because considered, which is the safety of the child, right? Now, if you are looking for a better life for yourself, your family, your children, most importantly, and in this case, England becomes a threat, or it I would say it becomes a threat to the child's life, then I think the parents acted in the best interest of the child, especially because they made emphasis on the gangs in London, which is something that is increasingly becoming a problem.
Yeah. The thing is, I'm looking directly at you, the viewers, because I wish for you guys to see my eyes and understand me. It's not easy to raise a child while you're trying to hustle and go through your day. You get up in the morning, someone will leave Africa, come to get a better life for themselves, and think that they can give the same better life for their children as well. They'll get up in the morning, let's say the father and the mother, they are nurses, for example, and they will want to swap their shift back and forth so that they can make a living for themselves. So the father will have a day shift and the mother has a night shift, and they'll be bypassing on their way in order to go to work. So one person is coming in, the other person is going out. So who is doing the school runs? And by the time you're doing school runs, you're trying to get some nap time so that you don't make mistake at work. You don't go to work and you fall asleep and give someone the wrong medication. During this time that you're trying to say, okay, you're trying to get the kids to school, you're not actually paying attention to supervise every little activity they are doing to make sure they're on track. This is the moment where they do go astray. Last time I saw a video of kids in London, more than 1,000 children walking through the streets of London. They were literally climbing on people's cars and working on the cars. These children, so most of their parents are at work, unaware that these particular kids are doing this. They might have said they are going to visit this person, they are going to visit this person, and being the way you're tired, you just say, okay, go now and come back. But they go out and they do the unthinkable. On this particular occasion, based on the different readings I've done, these parents have seen pictures of knives on their kids' phone. They've seen different flashy expensive clothes, jewelry, and other stuff.
Yeah, expensive
with the child,
possessions with the child, which they know they did not buy for him, and with the allowance they are giving him, he should not be able to afford any of those things.
Yes.
So they raised concerns and they decided to take him to Africa and enrolled him in a boarding school. Just, there is a certain level of discipline, because you wonder, like, if you're here as a parent, if anything, you want to be close to the child, to monitor the child and everything. But there is a certain level of discipline. This is no joke. We are all from Cameroon in this instance. There's a certain level of discipline that they discipline you, and you know that whatever you're doing, you cannot repeat it. We are not saying we don't have stubborn children back home or anything, but they discipline you. When we talk of discipline, they discipline you.
They don't spare the rod and spoil the child.
No. I was going to say, and every or year after year, the laws in England keeps changing. Like, especially when it comes to disciplining your own child. At this point, I don't think there is any law even which gives parents even the slightest room to even sit and discipline your own child. Like, it's gotten to the point where you're just, as a parent, you're scared of even scolding your own child, or there are things your child will do out of reflex. You even scream. That is even a problem, because what betides you if they even go and say, oh my, that if that's all they were worried about, would have been good. As soon as that is even raised for the first or second time, social services get involved and everything, and you start battling if you should even be allowed to see your own child. And so, I mean,
it's a tough battle. It's a tough call. Imagine that being a father, you're scared that your child might face a situation where they might actually go to jail. This will ruin every chance of them getting certain type of jobs or holding certain type of positions in the society. They, at their young age, they do not see that yet. All they understand is that they want to wear those things, and whosoever is encouraging them is giving them the best life, and you, the parent that is trying to tell them to do the other thing, is the person that is hindering their progress. So, at the end of the day, you're not there and you want to make money, so they are seeing the opportunity to make money. You're there, you're trying to stand in the way. So you become a problem for them. I remember growing up back home. I did not grow in a space where they spare the rod by any chance. This is not to say that every little thing a child does, you should just put your hands on them. But they do not spare the rod. There are certain things I did growing up that I knew if I did not have the heavy hands on me, I definitely would have gone astray.
Yeah, they would have, if you were here, they would have taken you back home.
Yes.
To enroll you in a school there.
I wasn't exactly a stubborn person.
Where they can really discipline and flog you well.
I wasn't exactly a stubborn person, but I knew that the people around me saw the characteristics very, very, very early on and decided to pluck it before it could even, that little bud flower could even come up. I remember the instance very well, like clearly, like yesterday, where I'm not even sure what I did that was so traumatizing, but the trashing I got from it was something that I think is like I stole diamond.
Yeah.
It beat me like my thief diamond.
And unfortunately, that's one of the things I would say parents here, especially in England, I will only say England because I live here and I've seen a lot of issues, or I've seen some of the challenges parents faced with raising children here, right? And because you explained earlier work patterns between a parent and children, not having time to spend with their children and so on, it doesn't give room for parents to even be available to see these things. You said there were behaviors that if they did not like spot in you on time, you would have maybe turned into something else, yes, right? And those things your parents were able to correct that because they saw it early before it,
yes,
Here, in a day maximum, on a school day maximum, probably parents don't even spend up to 2-3 hours with their children, except you are really hands-on. How many people are hands-on? Like, the work patterns, the economic crisis, everything, it just makes it difficult. Even if you want to spend time at home with your children, like, you can't. So the kids, they wake up in the morning, first thing, shower, breakfast, straight to some most children don't even have breakfast at home. They go breakfast club. So they wake up first thing, they shower, and they are gone. 6:30 they are in school. They spend all day there because you are at work. All day in school, after school club, just so you as the parent can close from work and then pick them up, or whoever is picking them up. If you're a nurse, then there is no way you're picking them up because your shift is 8 to 8 or 7 to 7 or whatever, before whoever picks your children up from school. And if they go to after school club, then they pick them up what time? 6 o'clock?
Imagine if you're a single parent.
By the time you get home, that's already like 6:30 or 7. They are having dinner before you know you're sending them to bed so they can wake up the next day. So you don't even have an hour or two to spend with them. So if there are any habits you're not seeing them, you're literally like fighting with time to even assist your children with their homework.
Yes.
You get. So whatever those kids are going through, you're not even there as a parent to spot them. You're not there to assist them navigate the teenager syndrome or whatever is going on.
Yes.
So you need to be, I would say, very intentional in making out the time.
And
some of these situations are, I mean, it's just out of control.
And the thing is that as the world has moved on to a different space, most of the children are so intelligent and smart that the things you think you were unable to fathom or think about as a child, it's not the same thing they're thinking about. They're way 1,000 steps ahead of you.
Yeah.
I don't think I was even thinking of cigarette at 12. I was not thinking of certain things at the age of 12 because the feasts that will meet me, it's not even the feasts. Some things were not accessible to me.
You're even talking
social
about
media
cigarette. We are talking
social
about
media
social media, the
social
things
media
they
has made
have
things
access
easy.
to, just having a phone.
Easy.
And they spend what? All day?
If you put control on some of these things to an extent, they start saying that you're infringing on a child's personal space. You're taking their freedom away. So they start reporting you from school, and it takes as little as maybe a child just having a sad face for a teacher to ask, "Oh, what happened? Did someone touch you? Did someone do this?" Before you realize, you see the police comes to your house or ask you 1 or 2 questions, and then you start, hey, because maybe you're just concerned that they might start asking questions, start looking at going through your house. You're like, okay, let me not just touch it again because before the child go and report me.
I don't even think it's even from that angle, Brandon. I'm sure they will not come and arrest. Let me not say arrest. The social services will not get involved because you choose to restrict your child from.
No, that's just one of the ways I just mentioned.
To me, I instead believe most of the problem is coming from over exposure to these devices. Either they get exposed to phones, tablets, and and whatever very early, right? And it gets to a point where they cannot get they cannot get the children off these devices, so they are so reliant. Like we've just been talking about going to work and everything. Just imagine you have a child, right? You've been you're coming from a night shift, 12-hour shift. You're in no capacity to look after that child.
You intolerate rubbish.
So you get, so the next, and that child has been sleeping all night, and they are awake in the morning, full energy, operating on 110%. You are operating at minus. What you need is sleep.
Yeah.
And you have that child, you need to look after that child. And you see people who just give them the TV, just watch the TV, or give them a phone just so they can get busy with whatever they are, so you can have some peace to rest at least. You get. And when this child is, I would say, I don't want to say they are, like, it gets to a point where they cannot do without phones or tablets, right? So what do you do at that point?
Another part to note is that there are more single parents than there are double parents household, and you cannot minimize the impact of a father's presence in a house, especially to male children. It's a great impact to a female child, but just the energy of a father in a home changes the dynamics of how that house is going, even if the father is not speaking.
Absolutely.
Just walking in through that door,
I remember
changes the reaction of everyone.
Growing up, our mom will be like, you do something, she'll be the one shouting or screaming, flogging you, whatever she's doing. But our dad, no, he's like, the day he raised his hand, no, you've done something really serious. All it takes for him is to walk into the house or just look at you.
Yes.
And like, you adjust, like you literally adjust. You're either doing what you're supposed to be doing, or you immediately stop whatever you're doing that is wrong. Like, all it takes is him walking through or him just looking at you. And
I think I still have memories of the one time that my dad actually, trashed me. I still have the memories. I know that he's going to watch this one and then tell me, how can you set up rubbish up there? Then again, it is what it is. We are grown now. If not for those things, we would not be where we are.
yeah,
But without saying, those things, it registers, and they you cannot minimize the impact of those actions. Now, imagine the difficulties we've explained and the things we've discussed about. Then imagine a single parent, just say a single mother, trying to catch up with work, school clubs, trying to build herself, trying to get a career. Maybe she's going to school and life is just beating her from every angle. And the bills are not taking any kindness to her.
yeah,
Then imagine that if it's someone that speaks a foreign language and she's trying to catch up with everything. There is no breaks and she has no life apart from you as a child. And then you have that opportunity and you decide to start walking around with funny people, and the parents will remember that, oh, I think there is a good school that I can put my child in, and I'm sure I can fend for him this way, and they take you to that school. Now you arrive there
you're
because
talking
you're not
about a good school, like sending them to
to a
Africa.
boarding school, to a
Okay.
boarding school in Africa.
Yeah.
I'm saying a boarding school in Africa because there are boarding schools in the UK, but what's the affordability for parents for the schools in the UK? It's the top 1% or top 5% that can even maybe be able to afford
yeah.
the fees for this type of schools. But it's possible that you get to give your child maybe a good school in Africa.
Yeah,
based
I
on
know quite a
the
few
finances.
people that have sent their children back home, Cameroon in this
You want
case.
to list them?
No, why? I don't need to call people's name here now.
Okay.
I'm just saying I know people who have sent their children to boarding schools in Cameroon.
I
Not
just wanted to
because
find out.
no, not because they are stubborn. No, not because they are stubborn. Because they believe, like, they want to give them that level. I mean, we are from Cameroon, but we know going to a boarding school, they have a different
Yep, I'll
standards.
I'll send my child. Definitely send my child. to
Yeah, they
this
have a
school.
different standard of education as compared to public schools, right? So they want to give them that experience. And you just mentioned here in England, probably only top 1% can afford boarding schools. Yeah, and if you want that and you cannot afford, I know a lot of people who send them to like very good boarding school, like international. There are now many international boarding schools in Cameroon.
Yes.
And they have international curriculum, not like your
Cameroon
regular
standard.
Cameroon curriculum. They have.
Yes, and mind you that when you're growing up to, there are schools that some parents were not able to go to, and they know they teach very well. They have good manners and everything, so they want their children to get that as the best for them.
Yeah.
Now, if that child goes down there and does not like the environment, maybe because they've not been able to know how to clean their environment, wash their shoes themselves, and those certain things, and it's like, oh no, I can't do this. I can't. No, I'm from the UK. We don't do this, and they then have access to the phone. They call their solicitors in the UK and say, "Oh, I'm suffering here."
Like in this case, this boy said his friends were insulting him, that they've deported him. So that's where some of the anger was coming from.
Between everyone that has read that particular thing online, they know that it's not about deportation. You know, deep down inside, there is no way that conversation about that child is.
And he said his parents tricked him. They did not tell him they were taking him to school. They told him he was going to look after or to greet a sick family member, and then before he
once you're getting to
him.
that space where you're reporting your parents as a child, believe me, you're not exactly falling into the space of the person that is thought of from that context of you were just there and you were there. Your parents are willfully maltreating you. It's coming from the perspective of, oh, they put you in a boarding school. There is no physical harm where you say someone was physically damaging you or harming you. Your complaint is that they've put you in a space where you no longer have access to the people that you used to have access to before. You no longer have access to the type of things that would enable you go astray anymore. Those are the things. And
especially if he was indeed involved in the gang activities, he would definitely say anything possible to come back, because children or students, whoever that has gone back to a boarding school, even if it's for holiday, they will complain about many things, but it will not be like they've deported you. If anything,
they're curious.
Yeah, if anything,
most of them exactly if you,
because when you go back, if anything, everyone is really looking at you like you're
what's up?
Everyone wants to be your friend.
What's up?
I mean, you're coming from England.
You go to Africa, there's no one that gives that particular type of treatment. They treat you differently. You're top notch.
Exactly.
As a matter of fact, so things are not coming from that perspective. There is more to it than what
the boy is saying.
The boy is definitely saying.
And I know, I will just add this because I know lots of parents have also sent their children back home, not because they are worried about the child, but because they are really struggling. Like we said, if both parents or a single parent is in a position where they need to be able to work and they cannot afford even to pay the breakfast club, after school club, or childcare and everything. It's
expensive.
And you don't have anyone to support you. It's easier for you to send the child home so you can at least get yourself in a financially stable position. Then you can bring the child, and others have done so for different reasons as well. You know, some is because the children are stubborn and they need them to go back home to an environment where they can be properly disciplined before they can come back to the England. But whatever the case, I've not met one person who has said making that decision has been easy.
Yes.
Like to send your child. True. Everyone, you want to be close to your child. You want to give that child the best. And we are here, we know in terms of education, health, everything, right? It is better. So for you to get into a space where you're making that decision, it must have taken a lot out of you, and no one has said it's been an easy decision.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I think, though I earlier said that yes, I would definitely want my child to go to PHS Kumba, which is one of the schools I did attend. I still remember my teachers, Mr. Bokwe Bokilo, and you have Mr. Kima Consti. Those are people that they impact a lot in you. I still remember my beak in school at Chiri Dennis. All those individuals are still in my head. Camille Roger, all of them are there in my head.
And that's the experience you want your child to go.
Yes, most definitely. It was amazing.
But it was amazing then. See, I think it
was not easy for a child to go through, but there are habits that I have today that came from there.
I was going to say, it was not a problem for you. It's different if you don't know any other way. Now they've seen something different. So going back to school, like if the child has gone to school here and at some point you decide to send them back home, right? They've known different.
Yes.
And going back, integrating in terms of school, the difference, everything. It's for some, it's easy for them to integrate, but for others, it's very challenging. Some students might
we had children that came from abroad, and they found the curriculum a little bit difficult because the level of studies you need to come up and stop the way the grading is being done is such that you actually need to sit down and study.
Yeah, because they added a lot of things that I believe were not even relevant in the curriculum.
Not relevant, but you read book.
Yeah, of course.
You will study before you go to the next class. They don't just take you to the next class. You go to the next class somewhere. You must merit it.
But that's, I don't know. I mean, I get it. We were doing a lot of studies, but when I look at the kids here, you see a child who is in year 5, like, basically, if you want to liken it to Cameroon, you say maybe year 5 or class 2, class 3, they are reading. The level of exposure they have, words, vocabulary it's not like you Trust compare me. A child I primary 5 year to someone from the university. Let's keep like educational knowledge aside. You get, when it comes to exposure and just general, I don't know which word to use. Like, there is no comparison despite all the studies that we're studying. So
yeah, I know a 3-year-old in the UK that bamboozles me every day. the type of thing that comes out of her mouth. She would tell you stuff. You stand and ask like, "Are you actually supposed to know this word?" Like it's so mighty for her age.
They even correct you.
Yes, they correct you.
Sometimes you hear them say a word, and I'm looking like I'm not sure I even knew that word existed until I was like in high school, university,
and they're saying
they are saying it, and they know the meaning. Yes, because they will even correct you
if you say something different.
So,
but
I don't know.
Let us know what your thoughts are in this regard when it comes to how to, what will be your situation if you want to think of how to discipline your child. You're faced with a situation where you feel your child is really going astray and out of hand, and you're struggling as a parent to catch up with everything, with life's own challenges, and it came to your help, or it came to someone offered that, oh, this is a good place where you could send your child to, and you end up being sued by your own child. Mind you, when you're being sued and they're coming back, they might not come back to your house. They might fall back. They might go into the system, social services and all the rest. But then you will not have access to them anymore.
When you sue your parents that they neglected you, are you coming back home?
Nah, definitely not. So, faced with all this, what's your opinion? What advice would you give to these parents? So just let the child go into the system.
What would you do?
What would you do faced with the type of thing that your child is
can
suing
you
you?
even send your child back home?
Yeah. Can you send your own child back home?
Let us know in the comment
section.
Let us know
in the comment.
Thank you.
Yeah, we are here with you.
Until we meet again.
Ciao.